Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online series 9 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the last episode, we used this really fun team. I was able to get number 1 on the ladder just a couple of days ago, featuring Gothitelle, Regieleki, and Choice Scarf Vanillux. So, we'll be playing a couple more games with it today. Once again, huge thank you to Willy VGC for the team. Details are in the description below. For the first game today, we're up against the really cool team, Runerigus, Excadrill, Inteleon, Corviknight, Regieleki. So it's almost basically a VGC 2020 team. Is Runerigus Ground Ghost? Actually, don't remember off the top of my head. Landorus is good here. I mean, we're probably not going to max Regieleki. This is just not a good matchup for it with Excadrill. Probably still want to bring it, though, because Corviknight's kind of an issue otherwise. Max Inteleon actually feels like it could happen. They don't have terrain control, so Rillaboom as a lead actually feels pretty solid to me here. I'm thinking Rillaboom, Landorus, Regieleki, and Urshifu. I could bring Vanillux just for weather control. But I think everything else is too critical to drop, so we'll see. Either way, it's a really cool team from my opponent's end, so yeah, let's get into things. Either way, thanks so much as always for watching Road to Rank. If you enjoyed, please show your support by leaving a like on the video. I really appreciate it. And question of the day, I want to know if you could just give one stat change to one Pokemon that is somewhat low tier right now, what would it be? If it's, you know, just one change that can turn them from like a lower tier Pokemon into a top tier Pokemon. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. It's Inteleon plus Regieleki. Typically, when I see this, I'm assuming it's going to be Soak strats. But, like, I can just... Unless it's Sash Inteleon rather than Scarf Inteleon, but... That's so unlikely. Like, I think just going for... The interesting thing here is we might not want to max the Landorus turn 1, because Regieleki could switch into Corviknight. And if they didn't go T-Tar Exca, like, yeah, they're going with the non-Sand Core, we could still max Regieleki. I don't mind a Glide here and just Rock Slide turn 1, because I don't think we're at risk of taking too much damage from Regieleki. Okay, so they switch Inteleon out, maybe into Corviknight there. It's Kramer. Yeah, that's Corviknight. Okay. And they protect, yeah, that's fine. Like, that's why I didn't want to max turn 1. Turn 2 is a little bit awkward, though, I suppose. You know, given that Corviknight resists that, like, I am actually pretty pleased about how much damage we did, hilariously enough. Yeah, it's not a bad turn 1. Regieleki now will probably want to switch out Brave Bird or Max Airstream onto Rillaboom makes sense, but we have Protect here, so I don't mind just going for a Protect. And I know Earthquake does reduce damage, but I think I'm still okay going for it here. Okay, I'm down for that. The main thing here is, I mean, I could have just gone for Glide onto Regieleki, because it did protect last turn. But actually, I think I like gliding into it. No, I don't mind protecting Rillaboom here. Okay, so they're gonna stay in, which is fine. We could have just KO'd Regieleki here. That may have been better. Okay, yeah, they tried a Volt Switch. Nice. So Earthquake shouldn't KO Regieleki because of grassy terrain, but it'll still do a decent amount of damage. And with my opponent's team, like, Regieleki is such a prominent potential max threat that, like, I'll take that turn 1. Yeah, they try to Brave Bird here. Okay. The thing is, Rillaboom is so good in this matchup against everything bar Corviknight. I want to take a Brave Bird right now. I think Regieleki is probably the most disposable. Oh, is it though? Because my opponent has Corviknight. Like, Rock Slide should finish off Regieleki from this range, so I'm going to Rock Slide, which is what I do with Rillaboom here. I don't mind switching out into Regieleki because their Corviknight's already taken a fair amount of chip damage, and if they Brave Bird, they take even more damage on top of a Rock Slide. I want to conserve Rillaboom here because Rillaboom wins against everything that's not Corviknight, so if we actually manage to knock out Corviknight, we can just max Rillaboom in the late game and clean up with that. Nice. They protect Regieleki. Perfect. Yeah. I just, like, don't want to give up Rillaboom right now. That's the main thing. Now that we get our Regieleki out, we can also just Electro Web this next turn. Flinch would be really nice here, but I don't know if that makes that much of a difference. Okay, they're just gonna Brave Bird, no flinch, but that's fine. I guess the problem now is if their Regieleki actually manages to, like, knock out our Regieleki. We're not max speed, but I think it's fine. I could always protect my Regieleki and just Rock Slide. But in this position, I don't think a T-Bolt KOs us, so I'm content to just Electro Web and Rock Slide. Like, Corviknight normally is a pretty difficult Pokemon to deal with, but through the Glide and Rock Slides, like, we've actually done enough damage to it where I'm not that concerned about it anymore. I guess it could Roost, but we also have Urshifu, Landorus-T. I guess it is a problem if they go, like, Thunderbolt onto our Regieleki and that actually KOs us, but we know it's not Specs Regieleki. We know it's not Life Orb either. So, at best, it gets a 20% boost from Magnet. Magnet would actually make a lot of sense because you're using it with Inteleon. Okay, they actually switch Corviknight out into Tyranitar. That's fine. Yeah, because at this point, if you're giving up a Regieleki, I think Landorus is a very solid max option. Alright, they just go for their own Electro Web. That's honestly not a bad trade-off for us, because that's definitely not KOing. So, like, I KO you, and I drop Tyranitar speed. And, like, at this point, Landorus can just pivot out and back in. Oh, wait, they were Life Orb. I guess we just never saw the item, because they actually haven't gotten an attack off, right? That's funny. Either way, it's a good thing we didn't Earthquake. Like, the one thing I was nervous about was Tyranitar coming in on an Earthquake and getting its weakness policy activated. But the thing here is, like, this is why you typically want to make sure whatever Pokemon you max, like, you get in relatively safely. Now, Tyranitar, which feels like the most likely Pokemon to max on my opponent's end, has taken so much damage, right? Like 40%. That's a very significant amount. I guess Inteleon could theoretically max, even though I think it's the Scarf user on my opponent's team. Got Urshifu in the back. Honestly, what if we just max Urshifu? We do have AV on this thing. Okay, I'm down to Electro Web and switch out. Actually, I feel kind of forced to max Landorus this turn. I mean, with the Salt Vest, no max move from Inteleon's KOing us, right? So, actually, yeah, I think it's fine Electro Web, Dynamax, and just Airstream into Inteleon. This is a position where we obviously have the advantage, but I feel like if I don't max, I actually could lose a lot. Whereas, because I have Urshifu in the endgame, if we just KO Inteleon, I don't care about Tyranitar maxing. So, the only thing we have to cover for in this position to guarantee the win is covering for Inteleon maxing. Now, the one thing I'm nervous about is a Snipe Shot or Ice Beam critical hit onto Landorus, if they actually are running Ice Beam. So let's see. But it should be Scarf Inteleon. Okay, they go for Icy Wind, but that's fine. And we actually end up surviving, so that's really critical. Oh, but I see what they're playing towards. Are they going to max Corviknight? That's actually really smart. Huh. We've done a lot of damage to Corviknight, though, so, like, I don't think it's that much of a concern, because, like, yes, you're bulky, but you just don't do enough to me. Okay, so we'll Airstream into Rillaboom, or sorry, into Tyranitar. I think we're still fine, but I don't know why I didn't think about Icy Wind, so, ooh, and they have Ice Punch? Please no freeze. Okay. Wow. That was sick. That was very, very sick. I think we're still fine, though, because we can just bring in Rillaboom now. Maybe Urshifu was better to bring in first? But with Corviknight as heavily damaged as it is, I think it's fine. I think I would have preferred bringing out Urshifu here, though, honestly. Yeah. 3 turns of Sand left, -2 speed. Quake will knock out Tyranitar through Protect. I am just gonna Wood Hammer into this, and do I Wood Hammer actually? Fake Out might make sense here if we're nervous about this thing having Roost. Yeah, I think I'm gonna Fake Out here actually, and Max Quake. That last turn was really smart by my opponent. Oh, perfect. Yeah, I think they were going for Roost here, and they're not maxing. Okay, great. Yeah, that's exactly why we wanted to fake out. Now, I'm pretty sure Wood Hammer plus Rock Slide just KOs your Corviknight, so you have to max, but by maxing, it means you can't go for recovery. That's why getting that chip damage on a Corviknight early on was so essential. But, I don't know, I feel like I could have played this game a little bit cleaner, because it's still not a guaranteed win, because we could miss, and that's really scary. I'm also trying to stall out the Sand turn so that Urshifu comes out and doesn't have to deal with, like, its Sash being broken. But at this point, I don't think my opponent has any outs. We can just go for Glide and Max Rockfall. Yeah. So, Icy Wind plus Ice Punch. That definitely packed a punch. No pun intended. But I was expecting one of those two Pokemon to max. It was smart that my opponent didn't, but this is exactly why I wanted to. If I didn't fake out this last turn, yeah, I get Wood Hammer off, but then they Roost. And then Corviknight could actually very easily 3v1. Looks like they're not going to max here either, so... This was a game in which, yeah, we just managed to bypass my opponent's max. Because they were never in a good position to actually end up maxing, so we take those. Probably trying to go for a Roost there, hoping that I misplay. And then stall out my max and then max Corviknight. That makes sense, because like maxing Corviknight that turn's never going to win you the game anyway, so you might as well hope for me to misplay and try to get a Roost off. But this is the thing with a team like this, like you can't just gain such big advantages that you just win the game before your opponent even gets a chance to max, right? So we'll Scarf Inteleon with Icy Wind and Soak. Anytime you see Inteleon, you should assume Soak, and when it's next to Regieleki, it's basically pretty telegraphed. They were max speed here in the end. Policy Tyranitar with Ice Punch. White Herb Excadrill, that's really cool. This Focus Sash Runerigus with a really interesting moveset. And then Occaberry Corviknight. Yep, with Iron Defense and Roost. So, like, based off what my opponent brought, you know, you max T-Tar, Aleki most of the time, right? And Aleki really wasn't in a good position to max, so then it comes down to T-Tar, but T-Tar also wasn't in a good position to max, so... That's why offensive positioning is so important when you use a team like this, right? Just putting yourself in positions where your opponent can't do too much against you. And if you gain that big of an advantage before they max, hey, that's awesome. All right, getting into the second game here. Let's see what we got. Dragapult Coalossal. Coalossal. Can't fake out Dragapult. I mean, AV Landorus is one of the best answers against Coalossal, but they have Glastrier, which makes it tougher. Wait, also low-key, I have Scarf Vanillux. Like, I could just Blizzard, but I don't think that one-shots Dragapult, right? What if it does, though? Like, why not go Vanillux? The problem still is Glastrier. If they didn't have Glastrier, this is so clearly a Landorus game. But they have Glastrier. Could even see them leading it. I just don't know if I one-shot Dragapult with Vanillux. Wait, what if I go Gothitelle Vanillux, Helping Hand Blizzard turn 1? Hold on, that's actually kind of interesting. Landorus in the back. And Urshifu. My problem with Landorus is his AV, right? Do I really not go Aleki here? Actually, what am I thinking of? I have Water Urshifu. Why am I so scared about Coalossal? I clearly need to play around Glastrier more. I don't like how I did team preview in this one. But I don't know what the absolute right... Because once again, if you ignore Coalossal, it can just sweep through you on turn 1. Alright, they go Dragapult. That's honestly what I wanted to see, because the thing is, I lock you in, I Helping Hand Blizzard turn 1, you don't get your Steam Engine policy off, and then I just bring in Landorus. And if you commit your max to Coalossal, that's honestly not that bad. Because that means you can't max Glastrier. Okay, yeah, honestly, this is exactly what I wanted to see, so I'm actually very happy about how this has started. I'm just going to Helping Hand Blizzard turn 1. The problem here is if they're actually Sash Dragapult. Oh, that'd be so bad. I could have also just gone... No. I was going to say Blizzard Hypnosis, but we can't let Gothitelle faint. Because if we don't one-shot Dragapult, they get the Steam Engine off. Let's see. I mean, I'm actually pretty happy about this because as soon as you commit your max to Coalossal, that's a good sign for us. The thing is, we still kind of need to intimidate the Glastrier, I think. But now we also have a faster Gothitelle, which can use Hypnosis, so it's like a 60% chance to insta-win. So, as long as you're not sashed here. Nice. Alright. Beautiful. Well, you know, this is exactly what I wanted to do on turn 1. I just wasn't sure how likely they'd actually lead Goth plus Vanillux. Sorry, Goth plus, what am I saying? Dragapult plus Coalossal. Okay, and the nice thing here is they actually don't knock out Vanillux, so I get another free attack off with it. Like, I can just Helping Hand Blizzard next turn. Actually, I'm not going to Helping Hand, I'm going to Hypnosis with Gothitelle. It's like what I said, it's like a 60% chance to insta-win, but even if we miss, it's not that bad. I say insta-win, but obviously they could get like a quick wake-up. Alright, they bring out Urshifu. That is okay with me. Oh! That's not okay with me. You're just gonna... Oh, but I have my own Urshifu. Thank goodness I brought that, because I can just Aqua Jet Cold later. Yeah, so in this position, I'm actually just going to Hypnosis the Coalossal and Blizzard here. Like, you do so much damage to yourself with Aqua... but they survive another one. But I have AV Lando in the back, right? So it's, like, fine, and I have the Dynamax advantage right now. So I feel okay about my positioning. Smart of them to bring Drag and Urshifu there, because if they didn't bring Urshifu, I think this game was already pretty much a wrap. Yep, they're going to Flare Vanillux, which I'm fine with. That sets up the Sun for us. Also good. If we hit Hypnosis, the game's over, I think. So, 60% chance to win. But even if we miss, it's still doable. And, yeah, like, this is the beauty of running Hypnosis on this Gothitelle, because it does literally just secure you wins in a position like this, right? So now we bring out Landorus. Gothitelle traps the Coalossal in, so they can't switch that out. And I can just go for Max Quake. Hold on, do I max here? I think the answer is yes, because otherwise I take too much damage from Surging Strikes and Volcalith. So I have to max here. I could taunt Urshifu. I think Hypnosis here is fine. They're like, my opponent's also in an interesting spot where it's like you kind of have to respect the Hypnosis, so you feel forced to target Goth. I could have gone Oh, maybe I should have Airstreamed. I just, I didn't know if Aqua Jet would have KO'd Coalossal, but Airstream actually would be a smarter play, because what that does, if Aqua Jet KOs Coalossal after max, is that if you knock out the Gothitelle, I think Gothitelle faints from Volcalith anyway here, right? So then it's like I get a free switch in an Urshifu, I can just Aqua Jet Coalossal once its max is over. So I think Max Quake here was kind of a troll play. Yeah, they did target the Landorus here, and it's not a 2-hit KO, which is good. 44 times 3 is 132. Yeah. How much did that do? A little bit less? 118. Cool. So we could theoretically take actually even 2. This is why this Gothitelle has Hypnosis, by the way. Like, I think when you use high variance sleep moves like Sleep Powder or Hypnosis, right, you have to be very careful about it. I think a lot of players get baited to just clicking it every turn because they're like, oh, you know, it's like, I can instantly win. But you have to, it's like risk versus reward, right? You have to assess when it's okay to miss. And I think that we miss Urshifu here, and that's, like, fine. Honestly, I can't even complain about something like that. Does Gothitelle faint here? Okay, it does. I wanted that KO. Because now I get a free switch in into my Urshifu. And with Urshifu, you can't protect in front of it, right? So it's like if you bring out, if your last one's Glastrier, for example, I can just double up onto Glastrier. Should be Glastrier, right? Yeah, there it is. Good. Because you have to bring it to cover for my Landorus. So I'm going to close combat here. Oh, this is actually still pretty scary. My opponent actually could still very much win this based off targeting. Volcalith is up too. It's the last turn. Like, I'm leaning towards just close combat and max Airstream onto the... I don't want a Rockfall here because I don't want to set up the sand. Actually, maybe Rockfalling is... Well, then you do more with Surging Strikes. Yes, and I'm not confident on surviving that on Landorus. I'm going to double up onto Glastrier. Wait, but I do eat up the defense boost drop now. Oh, but they Surging Strikes Landorus. Okay, perfect. Perfect, perfect. And now I outspeed with the Airstream boost, and I don't think Aqua Jet KOs. Yeah, like, I could not change the weather because then Urshifu just does too much damage to me. Yeah, now we win, I think. I was nervous because I think if they close combated my Urshifu with the defense drop, you actually would pick up the KO after Vocalid. So then it's like, it then becomes Landorus versus Urshifu 1v1. But then the thing is, they probably have Focus Sash. And that's a really big issue. Now I think we have the game won, but this is pretty scary. Actually, we could still lose to crit Aqua Jet and Sun, right? Can we lose actually because I outspeed with both? No, I don't think I can lose at this point, right? Because we just go, let's see, last turn is Dynamax. I mean, there's literally no downside to close combat max Airstream, correct? That's always our play. Even if, I think you go for the Aqua Jet here, yeah, but even so, like, close combat should be a 2 KO, and yeah, it doesn't KO Landorus. Okay, perfect. So, in the end, team preview, like, I was, you know, saying, I don't know how I like this, like, I don't feel very confident in it. Actually ended up being the best 4 Pokemon possible, but that's specifically because my opponent led Dragapult Coalossal. My lead was basically a gamble, hoping for them to lead it. If they led something like Glastrier plus, I don't know, even Glastrier Coalossal, for example, that'd be a really, really tough matchup. Like, in this game, I basically gambled off them leading Dragapult to deny them the setup early on. And the thing is, I effectively got a free knockout onto a Pokemon that I like don't think comes out that frequently. So, to be able to just pick up that knockout is very nice. But I think if this were a best of 3, my opponent just wouldn't go Dragapult Coalossal again. So I was able to counter the lead that I was expecting, but that doesn't always work out for you, right? Sometimes your opponent just doesn't lead what you're expecting to, or finds even a better lead. And I don't know if they actually just went Urshifu Coalossal. Like, well, if they went Urshifu Coalossal, I could have gone Fake Out Freeze Dry turn 1, I suppose. But then if they protect, I had no counterplay, very little counterplay to protect Urshifu Max Voltalid turn 1. My counterplay would be Hypnosis then, I guess. So the thing with Hypnosis on this Gothitelle is it just makes so much more sense than any other attack like Psychic, Psyshock, or Trick Room, because it literally can win you the game more than, like 60% of the time if you hit, right? So connecting on that Coalossal basically just ensured the win for us, although still a little bit scary in that end game. And like we even missed the Urshifu, but that's fine because we had a big enough lead. So because this team often builds upon your lead early on, you have a lot more room to just go for Hypnosis. Now, this is, you know, I think a similar comparison is like Sleep Powder with Venusaur, right? Sleep Powder is really high risk, high variance because it's like often your other option is to max Venusaur and do substantially more damage, and Venusaur is really frail if you don't max it, right? And so it's like if you go for Sleep Powder turn 1 and you miss, it's often a disaster with something like Venusaur. With this Gothitelle, you'll very rarely actually go for Hypnosis on turn 1 because there's no reason to gamble the game away on a 60% chance right away. However, if you can build a big enough lead, right? The idea is comboing with damage from the Regieleki, for example. You pick up a knockout onto one thing, put the other to sleep. It's so hard to come back from that. So it's a really smart tech specifically for this team. Now, yeah, if you're running Gothitelle, sure, you can run Hypnosis on it in general, right? But on this team specifically, you snowball the game so quickly, especially with Regieleki and Vanillix, for example, that it often just puts you in such fantastic positions. So, yeah. All right, let's get into the next game here. And actually, we can check their team here. So let's see. Yep, Sash Urshifu, Life Orb Glastrier. I was actually wondering the item on this. So it was Life Orb. That's interesting. AV Kartana, Goggles Togekiss, Policy, not Max Speed. Oh, yeah, it's Timid Max Speed. And then, like, Clay Dragapult. Yeah. All right, pretty cool. I'm just very happy they led Dragapult Coalossal there because that was basically, I was going all in on hoping to see that lead, and we got to see it come out, so yeah, pretty happy about it. But let's look for our next opponent here, and we're going to find him, so nice. All right, what kind of team do we have here? So it's a Sun team, very much like what we've seen before. Now, normally Landorus is designed on this team to beat Sun, but like, Leki's somewhat interesting. It's just like they're clearly gonna max Venu, right? Are they actually? Because we have Landorus, so it's like you might want to. Okay, other question: does Helping Hand Max Lightning one shot AV Thundurus? I don't think so, but maybe we don't need it to. Because like I'm thinking we lead Goth, Aleki, Lando, Vanillix. Rillaboom never comes out here. They have 4 resist to it. Urshifu you can make an argument for, but I kind of want to try this out. The thing is, I don't want to lead Landorus to just activate Defiant, right? Well, I guess if I led Landorus, I could have gone Goth, Landorus, Helping Hand, Max Airstream, or Rockfall. Oh, maybe Landorus actually isn't a terrible lead. I mean, we have a lot of different ways we can play this game, that's for sure. Like, we could have easily gone for Goth Landorus because I have the Vanillix pivot, so if you go Torkoal Venusaur, then I can just pivot out, change the weather, but if you don't go Torkoal Venusaur, well, you can't switch out because Gothitelle traps you in. Gothitelle is one of my favorite Pokemon, by the way. Like, I used it in 2014. I think, like, the best team I've ever made was my Post-Worlds 2014 team featuring Gothitelle, so, like, I just love using it. Torkoal Venu. Okay. Torkoal Venu. If I'm my opponent, turn 1, I'm going Vine Lash onto Gothitelle. Truth be told, Hypnosis might actually be our best option here. I just really don't like going for that, but like... the other question is what item you have on Venusaur. Actually, if I switch Eleki out into Landorus and it gets sniped, that's a disaster for us. It's funny because I was just talking about how you don't typically want to go for turn 1 Hypnosis. This is why I should have led Landorus, but like here, I actually think it is our best play objectively. And I'll go for Electro Web. Yeah, they're gonna max. I should have led Landorus, Gothitelle. Eleki was good against Thundurus, and I was expecting them to prioritize Thundurus. Like, you never want to go for turn 1 Hypnosis unless you think you're in an unwinnable position, but this actually feels very unwinnable. Like, because if they make the right read and I lose Landorus, it's like, I just have a little downside. Yeah, Torkoal protects, which is what we were expecting here too. So let's see. I mean, like, the thing is, they could Quake Eleki, but yeah, it's Vine Lash. And it's into Eleki. Okay. This is exactly why I had to make that play, by the way, right? Because if I switch out Eleki into Landorus and it gets hit by Vine Lash, I'm just in such bad shape. But Gothitelle's very clutch on hits there. Now, the thing is, actually, if we missed there, I think things would have been maybe okay anyway. Because realistically, I get the free switch into Landorus, and I can pivot out Gothitelle out into the Vanillix. But now we're just in much better shape, right? I'm going to Landorus. So, if you're trying this team, and just like a general rule of Pokemon, like, you never want to rely on, like, a slim chance. Now, Hypnosis actually works in your favor more often than not, but it's bad to get into the habit of just always going for it on turn 1. Yeah, like 60% of the time it connects, but over like multiple games, that is not a consistent way to win in Pokemon. I think we can actually Helping Hand and max Rockfall here. That changes the weather too. Maybe we just Helping Hand Max Quake. I actually don't know if Helping Hand Rockfall KOs Torkoal because Torkoal's so defensive. This also gives us a special defense boost, and we have Assault Vest. Yeah, I'm down for this. So, like, let's say Hypnosis didn't hit. I'd bring out Landorus. Actually, I'd probably still make the same play. I'd bring out Landorus, and I'd still Helping Hand Max Quake, because you can't protect Torkoal the next turn, or you can go for a double, I guess, but you can't switch out. So, like, 2/3 of the time, we knock out Torkoal. Maybe you Vine Lash to Landorus, but then I bring in Vanillix, and Vanillix Landorus is actually very good into my opponent's team in the late game. So, yeah. I just think I probably should have led Gothitelle Landorus outright in this game, but if I do that into Thundurus, things get a little bit dicey. Didn't really want to play into that. Okay, they're not going to go for the double. I actually think, like, it's correct to try to go for a double there, but the upside for my opponent is if I, go for, like, Max Airstream and a Venusaur, you can go for a Burning Jealousy and maybe burn me, but that's not going to be the case now. That was a crit, but I don't think that one mattered. So, yeah, Hypnosis has been very good for us today. I just, I think, like, because it's not a 100% accurate sleep move, I know when I go up against something and it uses Hypnosis, I'm like, oh, man, like, yeah, the game could be so different if it missed. Like, game 2, once again, I think, like, we were in a position where... Well, actually, I don't know. Both of these games, if we miss, it is a pretty big miss, but, like, it wasn't like we would instantly lose anyway. That's also why I didn't want to switch out Eleki turn 1, for example. Bring in Incineroar. Incineroar is fine though, right? Because I can just Helping Hand Max Rockfall here. Actually, would I rather Helping Hand, or I think I'd rather just Helping Hand and Max Quake. I don't need to change the weather because I'm bringing out Vanillix soon anyway. Yeah, I'm fine for that. Vanillux wins very easily against Venusaur and what they have in the back. What would they have in the back? Thundurus, Urshifu, Grimmsnarl? None of those resist ice. Okay. And they actually managed to stay asleep for another turn, so yeah. I mean, this is why sleep is such a good condition, and the Gothitelle here is really interesting, right? Because it actually has safety goggles, so you can't sleep powder from Venusaur onto it either. So Landorus on this team is really designed for the Sun matchup, but yeah, you know, like I think in the end here, well, if I led Gothitelle Landorus, how would I have played turn 1? The tricky thing is that it's almost always Koba Venusaur, so it's not like I even like switching into Vanillux Max Airstreaming works that well. Okay, Urshifu's their last one. Their max is over now. With the max being over, I have to respect Sleep Powder, right? Water Urshifu. I think we can just switch Goth out into Vanillux here. Okay, actually, like, it is still possible for my opponent to win. Assuming they Sleep Powder. Like, let's say the play I lean towards is switching out into Vanillux. Airstream into Urshifu. I think that's the right play here. Because you're going to feint after Hail. Man, it actually, yeah, it's scary that we're in a position where we could still lose, like, based off how well the early game went, but, like, it is certainly possible. Alright, they protect with Urshifu. I honestly don't mind that. Because I still get a lot of damage, and now I can just go for a Freeze Dry to KO that. Like, Vanillux is in a pretty good endgame. And now it's like, even if you went for Sleep Powder onto Landorus, it's fine, because I've broken your Sash. They go for Sleep Powder. Landorus actually dodges it. But to be honest, I don't think my opponent can win, even if that hits. Well, their win condition would then be Double Protect. Double Protect on Urshifu. Maybe, actually, their win con is still Double Protect, I suppose. We've definitely gotten pretty lucky today, though, right? Like, hitting the Hypnosis is when we needed to, and it's definitely a big Sleep Powder dodge, and obviously Sleep Powder's odds of hitting are higher than Hypnosis. I have Fly, Blizzard, Freeze Dry. I think here I'm just going to Freeze Dry Rock Slide. Because I think if you're my opponent, you try to double protect with the Urshifu, but they don't try to double. Okay. Nice. Freeze Dry should pick up the knockout. Great. So I was thinking, even if you get the double protect off, your best bet is to Sleep Powder me. And so even if you get the double, Rock Slide has a flinch chance, right? Pretty decent flinch chance. So you'd have to connect a Sleep Powder through Rock Slide. In the end, they are going to connect with Landorus, but yeah. Like, the reality is, because they had already protected with Urshifu last turn, yeah, and they didn't target Vanillux on the switch-in, if Vanillux KOs the Urshifu, it's a 3v1. And sure, Venusaur can Sleep Powder everything, but then you're hoping for early wakes, plus we have 2 special defense boosts on Landorus, so you're not doing that much damage to it. But turn 1 was so critical for us in this game, right? We were able to shut down Venusaur, and they took a 2-turn sleep as well. Those odds aren't exactly great, right? Like, it's not going to work out that frequently like that for you. So it's funny just because like, I was talking about how you don't really want to Hypnosis on turn 1, but like we couldn't snowball the game very quickly in this matchup. So, I don't know. I think Gothitelle Landorus is an acceptable lead because if my opponent leads Thundurus, I can just Helping Hand max Rockfall. But let's say they go like Grimmsnarl Thundurus, they can Reflect max Airstream, and that's really bad for us. So it was Cobra Berry in the end, which, you know, most Venusaurs are. Biggie Incineroar. One-shotting Incin was really nice. The fact they didn't try to go for a double on Torkoal or Urshifu made our life a little bit easier as well. Yeah, it was AB Thundurus. This is the problem. Like, I led the way I did to try to have a decent matchup against either the Thundurus or the Venusaur, and I feel like it's fair to maybe assume that they're going to try to play towards the Thundurus more, because you should expect AB Landorus from my end, right? So, my opponent definitely outled me, and we were fortunate to hit that Hypnosis on turn 1. Alright, last game of the day. Why do I feel like I've, like, seen this team before? Do we use this team at any point? I don't know, like, the combination of Blastoise and Registeel? It's so funny, I literally forget about teams, like, and, like, the specifics right after, even just, like, a few days after playing with it. My memory is just that bad. Okay, this is a really cool team. Grimmsnarl's a big problem. Okay, I kind of like Gothitelle plus Lecky lead. Yeah, that's actually really good, because if you go like Tornadus Blast, or not Tornadus, Togekiss Blastoise, I can just Helping Hand Electro Web. Vanillux needs to come out just because they have Landorus. And then it's probably Urshifu. Rillaboom doesn't make that much sense here, especially with Redirection. Landorus isn't that good either. Yeah, I think it's a pretty clear set of 4 Pokemon, but I don't know how strong this actually is into my opponent's comp, so let's see. What do we got here? I think, main things to watch out for here. Setup, right? So Shell Smash from Blastoise, Iron Defense Amnesia from the Registeel. But we have Taunt on Gothitelle, which is very helpful against Registeel. And they actually lead it. Okay. I can go for a Fake Out Max Lightning turn 1. Yeah, honestly, let's just Max Lightning this Registeel before it can get any setup. Fake Out into Grimmsnarl. You're trapped right now, which is really good for us. The thing is, I kind of wanted to KO Grimmsnarl in this position. There's also an argument to be made to not Max Lecky, but I think setting up terrain this early on is good for us. So yeah. Okay. We Fake Out Max Lightning. Even if Registeel protects, like we just KO next turn. Alright, good protect. I mean, this is why I was thinking of targeting Grimmsnarl, but like I can just Helping Hand Lightning Registeel next turn. Although it feels like if I just targeted Grim here turn 1, we like win the game. Yeah, maybe I should have just targeted Grimmsnarl instead, because it's never going to protect, whereas Registeel can protect. And actually, that was definitely the right play to target Grimmsnarl, because we're never KOing Registeel on turn 1 anyway, right? So like, what was the point of that? Actually, what would it have KO'd? It was pretty close. It was pretty close. I can Max Lightning now and Taunt into Grimmsnarl. With Electric Terrain up, I would think Max Lightning KOs even when they set up Lights. Oh, they reflect. Okay, so they expect us to be physical. That's actually really good for us, because now I definitely KO Registeel. Like, the risk of not going for Helping Hand here was if Registeel actually survived, but now we definitely KO because we're special. And we get the Taunt on a Grimmsnarl as well. If Fake Out Max Lightning one-shot Grimmsnarl turn 1, I think that's always the better play. I was just worried about Registeel going for Amnesia on turn 1, if it had it. But I guess, like, not that many Registeels even run Amnesia. Like, that's still kind of rare. So, yeah. Alright, Landorus comes in. Landorus comes in. I can just Max Lightning, but I also have Max Strike. Honestly, I think the better play here is to ignore Grimmsnarl, because... well, Max Quake hurts a lot, but then I get a free switching into Vanillux. I get Helping Hand Blizzard. Mainly because they have Rillaboom as Fake Out in the back. They have 3 Fake Out users in this team. So, like, I don't mind going for Helping Hand Max Strike onto Landorus here, because then I just bring out Vanillux and then Helping Hand Blizzard. And once again, this is the beauty of this team. If you can bait your opponent into maxing Landorus, Vanillux is the perfect answer against it later on. So yeah, not bad. Helping Hand Max Strike's not going to do that much against AV Landorus, but it should do enough where Blizzard certainly will finish it off. And Strike is also important because they might Airstream in this position. I could have Max Guarded with Regieleki. If Landorus didn't carry Lumberry, like Max Guard and Hypnosis is actually a pretty acceptable play here, but because so many Landorus run the Lum, it feels like kind of a waste. Although I guess Lum would be really bad for us here, right? Because then you could protect. Well, then Blizzard still finishes it off. You'd have to spare. I think it's fine. It's just like, it's tempting to just pick up the KO onto Grimmsnarl here, right? It's very tempting. Yeah, that should be Assault Vest. Okay. But that's good to know, right? Because this means you can't protect in front of... if you knock out a Lecky, you can't protect. So I just bring in Vanillux and Helping Hand Blizzard. And they Airstream. Okay, even better. Nice. They're going to target down Gothitelle here. Ideally, they doubled up on a Goth. They like go for a Spirit Break on the last slot, pick up a Knockout, and I get a free switch in. But either way, I'm pretty happy about that. Oh, but you know what the problem is now? Shoot. The problem is now, by not KOing us, I actually didn't get a free switch into Vanillux. That was actually really smartly done. I don't know if my opponent intentionally didn't want to pick up a KO there, but either way, it denies me a free switch in, and you can Airstream again. Now here, I can go for Rising Voltage. Wait, we don't have Ice Shard on Vanillux, do we? Because if we do, we can Helping Hand. Yeah, we don't. The other, like, all the other moves are too good to give up on, though. See, now I'm knocking out Grimmsnarl. I was, like, if we got that free switch in into Vanillux, I think this was basically over. So it was really smart of my opponent to not give me that. We do outspeed the... Oh, yeah, obviously we outspeed this turn, yeah. Okay, we one-shot the Grimmsnarl, so that's good. I mean, we have Urshifu in the back, as well as Vanillux. Those are, like, probably two of the best Pokemon to have against this Landorus, right? Wait, actually, because I had... Oh, nice. They actually... This is really critical. They did not go for a Airstream. Now the question is, what is my opponent's last one? They had Rillaboom, right? I think I have to assume Rillaboom coming out right now. Because if I bring out Vanillux and they have Rillaboom, they can just go Fake Out Rockfall. I actually think the better play last turn was to Helping Hand Hyper Beam, because then Aqua Jet should KO Landorus-T. It is Rillaboom too, yeah, so perfect Pokemon selection by my opponent here. Fake Out Airstream makes the most sense. We know it's AV Lando, so this is a position where Hypnosis is actually very handy. I mean, I think I do Protect here. Protect Hypnosis. If you're my opponent, what do you do here? Fake Out Airstream, right? That's what you should do. And then it's a question of whether or not Landorus outspeeds my Vanillux. I think the safest play here really is to Protect and Hypnosis into Rillaboom, even if we don't get it off. Well, let's see if they Airstream here. They also might have just gone like Fake Out or Glide into Gothitelle. Either way, it was really, really smart of my opponent to not give me a free switch in into Vanillux, because that's what I was like angling for this whole time. Wow, their Landorus is slow. But we end up missing Hypnosis, unfortunately. That's fine. I mean, like, that's how the cookie's gonna crumble sometimes when you use this team. I think the problem now is that their Rillaboom should outspeed our Urshifu, so Grassy Glide should outspeed us. But this is exactly, like, I'm glad to feature Hypnosis missing here. Like, that was a critical miss, right? If we connect there, the game's over, because I just can Helping Hand Aqua Jet the Urshifu, Landorus. So unless for some reason this Rillaboom is still slower, and they still have Reflect Up too, that's not good. Okay, actually I can still see it out here though, because their Landorus is really slow, it looks like. So what I can do here is Protect with, yeah, Protect, because I'm going to feint to a Glide anyway, right? Yeah, so we can Protect here, and we get Hypnosis again. But, like I'm happy to feature us losing from Hypnosis missing, because, you know, like I said, this is a really high variance move, right? Yeah, so there's Glide into the Protect. U-turn. See, this is the thing, yeah, now if we hit Hypnosis, we actually still win. Actually, it's not a guaranteed win, but there's a double miss. I had no better play to go for, but this is exactly what I mean by this is a very high risk, high reward move. Now you can just Glide into this. I think our best play is to double Protect, because I can't Aqua Jet into Lando anyway. And if we get it, maybe we have an out. So definitely is a little bit of a bummer to miss and then not get a double, but once again, you can't expect those rolls to go in your favor. Yeah. Like, that's once again why you don't want to rely on Hypnosis, right? And in this endgame, we actually kind of had to rely on it. Did we survive this? No, okay. Okay, the other argument to me... Actually, no, Aqua Jet wouldn't have worked anyway. Unless the Rillaboom actually was slow. Like, I guess I could have played it thinking that Rillaboom, even at +1 speed, is still slower than the slower than us. So, yeah. But, once again, happy to have a game like this because it shows you why you don't want to rely on Hypnosis. And, like, the game against Torkoal Venu. Like, I also misplayed this game by turn 1 not going for Fake Out Max Lightning onto Grimmsnarl. That would have been a lot better. Because then I could just Helping Hand Max Lightning into Registeel turn 2. Blizzard could always freeze here, so if we outspeed and freeze, there's a shot. There's glide. Yeah, that actually... And we get crit. I don't think that KOs without the crit, so yeah, that was just like everything going wrong. Double Hypnosis miss into no double protect into crit as well, but our chances of winning there was relying on a freeze. So yeah. Anyway, that's what happens when you use Hypnosis. So the goal, typically, if you're using this team, is to put yourself in a position where you do not need to click that Hypnosis button. Hypnosis should be used as a last-ditch effort because, as you can see, you can miss multiple times. So today's episode highlights the risk versus reward of using an attack like that, right? Sometimes you have to use it, especially... Like, the thing is that it can bail you out of bad leads. So, like, that's the upside of something like that. But, once again... a miss can be super detrimental, and in that endgame, for example, like, we did really need to connect on it. So then the question basically is, how could I have played better around the early game in that last one? Quite frankly, I think we had all the right Pokemon. I guess I could have knocked out Grimmsnarl earlier, but I really liked intentionally not KOing it. I do think, okay, instead of knocking out Grimmsnarl that turn, if I went Helping Hand Max Strike onto Landorus-T that turn, like we got hit by Max Quake, then I could have brought an Urshifu out and gone for a Helping Hand Aqua Jet. They did have Reflect Up though, so I'm not sure it would have been enough to KO the Landorus. Probably not. So, I don't know, AV Landorus definitely a little bit tricky, mainly because they had good protection against the Vanillux in that one, but yeah, I mean, once again, like, that one also, the end game, like the odds of all that happening is, so what, 2 Hypnosis misses, that's 40% per miss, so 16% for both of those. You factor in the lack of a double protect, that double protect happens, what, 1/3 of the time? So 2/3 of the time. It's not going to happen, and then crit as well. Although the crit didn't matter very much, it might not even mattered at all. Actually, let me do that calc, that's probably an important calc to know. Like, yeah, but it's I'm saying all of that, but it's not like if we get the double, for example, we just win. The main thing we needed is one of the 2 Hypnosises to hit. So, the odds of 1 of 2 connecting, decently high, but once again, still not something you want to rely on. I just, like, don't know if I could have played consistently better. Oh yeah, Glide definitely doesn't KO without a crit. How much does Blizzard do, actually? Wait, does Blizzard one-shot? Because if it does, that actually... We might have lost. Oh, no way. If you have no bulk Rillaboom, Blizzard's a guaranteed one-hit KO. Dang. If you have max HP, they're not Assault Vest, it still has a 19% chance to one-shot. Wow. I didn't even think about the fact that we could have just one-shot Rillaboom there, but yeah. So then the question is whether or not their Landorus was faster, because they seem pretty slow given like Gothitelle outsped it before they got the speed boost. So, with that, there's actually a decent chance Vanillux actually would have just outsped Landorus anyway. So, we actually had a decent... Yeah, like, a lot went wrong in that endgame, but yeah, I don't feel too bad about it, because I did have some multiple opportunities to play better. Mainly turn 1, that was just... I didn't need to show Registeel that much respect, I think. Fake Out Lightning onto Grimm would have been super good. That also would have denied a Reflect, which means I could have played more loosely with Urshifu later on. So, yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one, so thank you so much as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please show your support by leaving a like, and yeah, huge thank you to Willy VGC once again for the team. Details are in the description below. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all next time. Alright, peace.